Hello. We've known Rayed Amira for many years, since he was instrumental in the development of the Palestine UK social work network. Rayed is a social worker in Bethlehem and a member of the Palestinian Union of Social Workers and Psychologists. He was also a Human Rights Commissioner for the Asia Pacific region of the International Federation of Social Workers, the IFSW. Since October last year, Rayed has sent occasional emails to social workers he knows around the world. His last emails of 2023 followed a New Year message from the President and the Acting General Secretary of the International Federation of Social Workers, the IFSW, which made no mention of the destruction of Gaza in its wishes for a joyful holiday season. Having made two carefully neutral statements since October last year, the IFSW has yet to make a stand against Israel's slaughter of so many Palestinians, including many social workers. On the 28th of December, Rayed sent an email which contained messages from 4 social workers in Gaza. In this video, social workers from the UK will read out these messages and the words of Rayed, which we will hear first.
After many attempts over 25 days, I succeeded in reaching our friends and colleagues, social workers in the Gaza Strip. Gaza is facing genocide by the colonial capitalist occupation and has been left with nothing of the basic elements of life. My contact succeeded with 3 social workers and 1 other whose name I did not have time to discover. They were from the north, centre and south. Maybe it's a coincidence, but fate wanted me to speak with our friends and colleagues for them to tell us that they were fine. And they asked me, "How are you?" Their words are hard to listen to, but these are the real stories and lived experiences of social workers in Gaza today. The first message comes from Dr. Abu Zaita, head of the Palestinian Union of Social Workers and Psychologists in the Gaza Strip.
Hello, my friend, and thank you for calling. We are fine, and we hope you are well. We are fine because we're still alive. We're fine because someone is asking after us. My friend Rayed, my message will not be to the international human rights system who has fallen in the face of this bloodshed, and not to the United Nations, which has not been able for more than 75 years to bring an end to this brutal occupation, nor will it be to the Western empires who have conspired against Gaza and our people. My message is only to social workers and the IFSW. We are living under bombardment by planes, tanks, and naval battleships. The scale of the tragedy and destruction cannot be described. You cannot imagine what we are suffering. We appeal to you and ask you to work with all your might for a ceasefire and an end to the genocide. Because if we remain alive, we do not know how life will return to its normal course. The doctor to their patients, the social worker to their community and their beneficiaries, the farmer to their land, the mother who lost her children back to her destroyed home, the children who lost their fathers, homes and siblings. Ending the occupation is a priority, and your defence of Palestine is a priority, professional, ethical and union-based.
The second message Rayed sent was from Mohammed al-Sharif, a social worker in the north of the Gaza Strip.
I lost contact with Mohammed for more than 3 weeks. In the last communication between us, he said his house had been destroyed and he and his family had been injured. I thought I would not be able to talk with him. This is Mohammed's message.
Today I'm fine, and I'm moving from one place to another to escape the bombing. Our family was divided into two parts so that if a missile surprised us, at least one of the family members would live. We don't know what to do. Here, when you see martyrs in the streets, we're unable to do anything because approaching them is inevitable death at the hands of the occupation tanks and soldiers. We have lost many loved ones and friends, and we have lost many social workers and wonderful, loyal colleagues. Here is a message to all social workers in the world. We have a message and a goal. We are not just numbers that the occupation wants to eliminate. We are continuing and may be martyred at any moment. But remember that we have addressed you and sought refuge with you through IFSW more than once to be more just and bold in decision making. I don't want to remind them that this colonial occupation has exceeded 75 years. From the displacement, killing, and now the genocide of the Palestinian people.
The next message is from Mohammed Al-Bobo, a social worker from the south of Gaza.
My colleagues, social workers, the situation in southern Gaza Strip is very frightening. Continuous bombing displaced people from all over the Strip, lack of basic necessities for life, injured children and others searching for their brothers, fathers and mothers. Hunger, shock and thirst are the masters of the situation. It is crime, it is genocide in every sense of the word. We call on you to intervene immediately for a complete ceasefire and to save what can be saved from the crimes of the occupation. We can no longer endure, but we are patient. We can no longer imagine what is happening, but we are steadfast. In light of these difficulties and compelling circumstances, we, as social workers, are unable to comply with our professional duty to serve our people. We, as social workers, are displaced from house to house and from place to place in an attempt to attempt death, and thus we have become unable to serve and help our people.
Finally, Rayed introduced the fourth social worker's message.
There is another voice that spoke simply. He cried sometimes, he screamed at other times. I don't know his name. He said,
I am a social worker. I was in shelter schools, playing with children and helping them as much as possible. I was trying to make them forget the sound of bombs and trying to keep them away from the destruction. Suddenly, one of the missiles fell in this safe school, and a number of children were martyred. I was always trying to play with them and spread a smile on their faces. I don't know what happened to the children and their families. Everyone has left and is trying to find an umbrella to shade themselves, trying to heal the wounds. I ask all social workers in the world to unite their voices towards Palestine and its freedom, towards a ceasefire in Gaza, and towards holding this colonialism accountable. Hold accountable the brutal occupation forces and everyone who bombs, kills, and occupies our land, even if they are social workers. Oh, social workers in the free world, do not forget us. We have learned from our colleagues that many of you are raising your voices loudly against colonialism, injustice, and occupation. We want you to raise your voice loudly to end occupation and colonialism. But we also ask for action against those social workers and social work organisations such as the Israeli Colonial Union of Social Workers who practice killing and destruction. We ask you, in light of this tragedy, to take a step forward and freeze the membership of murderers and monsters and expel them. I apologise to you in advance, IFSW. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do I need to repeat it louder? Social workers in the occupying state participate in the killing and destruction of our people. Isn't this a shame?